So I'm trying to start with an intro and outro. So please give notes to anyone who feels like it could need some work because this is only my second time actually doing it. So I don't have it memorized yet. Welcome to the Rediscovery Journal, the podcast where healing meets honesty. I'm your host, Sophia, and each week we dive into deep conversations of stories of self rediscovery, mental health, and the raw, real moments that shape who we are. Whether you're on the journey of growth, seeking clarity, or simply need a reminder that you're not alone, you're in the right place. Let's rediscover what it means to truly know ourselves one conversation at a time. So this week, I have an amazing friend that I actually met through Instagram. She took a chance on me and did an art trade with me and made me the most gorgeous, I think, 2 pairs of earrings. She's a multimedia artist and she was my second art trade that I ever did. So again, she really took a chance on me there. So welcome, Anka. Is there anything that you kind of want to dive into or share about your background to start off?
Yeah, well, first of all, thanks for having me. This is incredible. I don't think I ever would have imagined I would be doing a podcast interview with someone that I met through Instagram. Who would have thought a year ago today we would be here? You know what I mean? So thank you for having me. Yeah, so a little bit about me. I am currently a small business owner where I sell jewelry and crochet accessories, and I do freelance graphic design. And alongside my business, I am a graphic designer and social media manager for a company in my hometown. And I am a part-time nanny, which I was just with the kids today, and I got a lot of dirt poured on me. It's kind of what I do. I love art. I love design. I love anything creative. I have my MFA in graphic design and then my BFA in interior design. And yeah, art has just always been a part of my life and who I am.
I love
So I'm
that.
happy
And
to talk about it.
for those of you who haven't tuned in previously, she actually made the art that is now like the cover for my show. So super excited about that because she helped like make a vision come alive. Previously it was just a like punch and stitch piece that I had made because I am not a graphic designer at all. So I'm really excited about the upgrade that I got from her like diving in and giving this experience. So what initially drew you to the craft of art?
Oh, good question. So, okay, you know that trend right now on Instagram that's like the effect is crazy because, XYZ, this wouldn't have happened. Like, I wouldn't be where I'm at if this wouldn't have happened. I was trying to make one of those videos for my page, and I was like, art has just always been a part of me. I can't necessarily pinpoint a reason why it started or when it started, but I tried to narrow it down and it's just always been a theme. I've always loved, like when I was a kid, I loved to draw. I love doing chalk outside. I would make my teammates friendship bracelets. And
Aw.
then when I was, the butterfly effect is what I was, for the video I was trying to do. I was at basketball camp when I was 9 and this girl was making pop tab bracelets like during our break and I was like, how do you do that? And so she showed me how to make pop tab bracelets, which that led me to selling them to my neighbors and my classmates when I was in like 5th grade. It's always been an entrepreneur, I guess. Which then led me to wanting to learn how to crochet, and so like my 7th grade teacher taught me how to crochet, and then I wanted to learn how to paint, so my neighbor taught me how to paint, and it's like it just kept like trickling. I've always just been very creatively curious.
I wish I tried to kind of learn how to crochet. I made a worm
That's so fun though.
when I was, well, I wasn't trying to make a worm. I was just trying to practice the up and downs, and I just can't or couldn't get like tension or anything right. So if you do have any tips, please send them my way because I have no idea what I'm doing, but I have like a lot of yarn.
Oh man, well, yeah, I would just say keep practicing it. Like, I don't know, I remember when I first learned and I was doing hats, they would always come out as like the Ed, and Eddie hat, you know?
Yes.
It would just be like so long. I don't know, and now, I don't know, you just like anything, like if you practice, you'll get better at it, but trying to think of, are you left-handed or right-handed?
Right-handed.
Okay, so am I. I don't know why I had to think about that.
No, you're fine. I had to think too.
That question actually means nothing. It would be the same either way. But just keep practicing. And I don't need to figure out the way that for holding it works best for you.
Yeah,
feel
I heard
like
that some people get like tension rings.
yeah,
I don't
like
know.
little snakes.
Yeah, I don't know how helpful those are, but also I think part of it is that I'm one of those people who just kind of likes to pick up a whole bunch of different crafts and activities.
Mhm.
So right now I have this one like small business that I did an art trade with Hot Girls
Oh.
Hobbies. And she had like beaded embroidery kits you could get as well as like make your own rug. So I'm working on making like myself like an olive rug.
Fun.
It looks so good so far and it's very like once you get in the hang of how to do it, it's so like just easy. You can just sit and put something on the background and get in the zone. And I assume that that's what it's like when you make your jewelry or any of your crochet stuff is you're so good at it that like if you just get into a zone with it. Is that correct?
For sure, you do get into a zone, a flow state, if you will. I think I like crave the flow state every day. Like I just like love being unplugged and like just like into what I'm doing. I do think like even though I think there's like it's a double-edged sword with being good at certain things. I think you can get really comfortable with, like with the project you're doing. Where I find myself like or found myself probably in like at the beginning of this year. I was like, am I even challenging myself right now? Like I'm just making things, I'm making products. Even if I'm making things with my hands, am I being creative? And I kind of came to the conclusion that I wasn't being creative. And that wasn't to try to like be down on myself or anything, but I was like, I'm just making products to share and to
Mhm.
sell, which we have to make money to survive. But how, sustainable, how much of a sustainable life is that?
Yeah,
So
you're gonna burn out if you just keep doing it and you're not expanding.
yes, yeah. So that's why I started. I know you're familiar, but for the listeners, I started doing a no spend era where I decided I like wasn't going to spend money on art supplies and I was just gonna like use up what I had and I just had to be creative and like we have a dog, which was very fun and I still want to be in that era, but business has picked up, which is great and I'm not complaining about that.
So the concept of like the no spend era, I think that that's so cool. How did you get like inspired to do that? Did you just see a whole bunch of things you had sitting around that you could use?
Yeah, so because I was in design school for 6 years and because I like haven't been able to settle on one medium or design discipline, I like tried every single studio that I could while I was in college, meaning I have
Oh, I
every
love
single art
that.
supply. It was so fun. I loved it. But yeah, I just kind of like, so I moved home after I graduated with my master's to start this business. And so everything I own is still in boxes in my basement because I kind of refuse to unpack everything. And so I go down there a lot hunting for things. And I, one day I was like, this is ridiculous. Like, this is absurd how much stuff I have just sitting down here. So yeah, it all started because I did a collab with the Slow Era, which is a vintage brand in Ames, Iowa. I recommend following them on Instagram if you don't. A quick plug for Melina and their store. But I was doing an art collab with them, and they wanted a bunch of beaded hoops and cluster earrings. And I was like, I've got like beads. I've got beads. I have everything that I need. Like, why go and buy new things for a brand that like prioritizes sustainability and reusing
Mhm.
materials? And so I was just like, and I was on it that day. I was like, I'm just gonna do this. And then I feel like when I have an idea, I like just jump right into it and I don't stop thinking about it. So then it was really easy to start conceptualizing the next projects. But I haven't worked on that series, I think, since March, which is disappointing because I love
I
doing it.
mean, March isn't that long ago though.
No,
If you
no.
really think about like the spin like so like don't get down on yourself about it. But one thing I think is really cool is I've bought like jewelry from other places before and like I think I mentioned to you I have really sensitive ears and a
Yeah.
lot of times they say like oh this is for sensitive ears and then my ears are like no girl it's not but
Yeah.
yours actually are like yours are so comfortable. I can literally go like several days in a row wearing yours and I feel complete like all day too and I feel good. I feel like I look good and my ears don't hurt which is such a nice change of pace.
Wow, that's so refreshing to hear. Thank you.
Yeah.
Hypoallergenic earring studs. That's what they are. So I'm really glad. I'm really happy to hear that. Because honestly, as a business owner and like sending jewelry out to strangers, and like I do know that they're hypoallergenic. Like I buy them specifically for that, but it's like still nerve-wracking where it's like,
Hmm.
what if something happens? And so it's really nice to hear that they are doing their job. And I gave you the, is it two pair of heart earrings?
No, you did one hoop.
Okay.
And
Yeah,
one,
yeah, yeah.
yes. And oh my gosh, like once I put them on, I was like, I was sending them pictures to everybody that I knew. I was like, look how good this is. Cause like I'm not normally like I said, I'm not normally like a huge jewelry person. Normally the only thing I kind of put on if I put on anything is earrings.
Mm-hmm.
And I have a very big like fruit aesthetic. Like if you could see my apartment right now, I have some of the fruit stools. I literally have a tomato pillow
Oh, cute.
right here. I have chicken nugget pillows. Like I just have a very hardcore food aesthetic. So a lot of my jewelry is fruit and food related.
Cool. What's your
Yeah,
favorite pair of fruit-related jewelry that you have?
that's so hard. I think so. My mom was just in town this past week, and we went on a little shopping trip and came across these cherries. And yeah, they fit. They look so cute. I'm like, okay, they're not like dangly, but they're like the new type of earring that's become popular, where like the back part of it has. I don't know how to.
Yes, I know exactly what you're talking about.
I
Yes.
don't know how to describe it. Yeah, it's not a back. Like it's not like a normal back. It's like the back is part of the jewelry itself.
Yes, which is so cool.
Yes, I love the concept, and it gives it more of like a three-dimensional aspect.
Uh-huh. I think it's really fun, like earring wise. It's like you can just really express yourself with the earrings.
Mhm.
And I feel like we're really stepping into a new, well, the last few years, I feel like a whole new like earring era in a way. Like just feel like
More
or maybe I'm
expressive.
yeah, more expressive. Yeah, and bigger and colorful and it's just a fun fashion, like very colorful fashion right now, I feel like, which is good.
One thing I had kind of asked you a little bit about before we started recording was actually your self portrait behind you. I don't know if you want to
Yes.
talk about it at all.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, so it was 2021. I was a junior in college. I was doing interior design. I was studying that and I was starting to like COVID had just like was starting to end a little bit. And because of COVID, like the way we do interior spaces is like really starting to change. And maybe that was kind of an excuse at the time because I just didn't want to do interior design anymore, but I was just like not as into it. And so I did a lot of hands-on things that semester. So I was worked at a art studio on campus where I like helped teach art and crafts and more fine art things. And then I was a set design director where we like hand built a whole outdoor set, which was cool for a fashion show. And then I took this painting class, and it was the first studio that I took outside of interior design, and I just like
Mm.
absolutely fell in love with it. I had painted, growing up and in high school, but never like that. And I remember, so it was called a master and a self portrait. So basically, you had to find a portrait that already existed, recreate that, and then recreate a self portrait in that style. So I'm gonna get the name wrong. I think it was Jenna Fisher was the artist, and I recreated their portrait, and then I recreated mine. But I remember going into that process being like, I can't do this. What gives me the right to be a painter? Like, I'm an interior designer. Like, I've never painted a portrait. I don't paint people. Like, I'm not gonna be able to do this. And then I did it. And I remember crying when I finished it, and I called my mom, and I was like, Mom, I don't want to be an interior designer. Like, I want to do something different with my life, but I don't know what that means. And here we are now. So I like looking at it every day because it's just like I didn't have the confidence that I could do it, and I did do it.
It was kind of what propelled you into where you are now.
In a way, yeah, it was maybe that could be my butterfly effect. Yeah, in a way it did because I went into my internship for interior design and I was like, this isn't what I want to do. It wasn't a bad internship, it just wasn't what I wanted to do. And so I applied to graphic design grad school because I knew I could combine more art and design together. And then I jumped right into my grad program right after my interior design program. And yeah, then I started making jewelry for fun because I had a little bit of downtime in between the two. So, and
Oh
here we are
wow, so
now.
that's kind of how your business started was just for fun.
In a way, yeah. I was a senior in college and I was wearing like butterfly earrings every day. They were so cute. I had made them just out of like little charms. And this boy I was dating at the time, this is kind of the origin story of my business in a way. But he told me, he said, Anka, can you please just wear normal earrings? Please just like no one likes your earrings. Just like wear normal earrings. And I was like, hell no. I'm gonna wear my butterfly earrings. Like, please, people love my earrings. And so we broke up, obviously. And not because of that, but other things. Anyways, Water under the bridge. That was so, so long ago. Then I was working as a gardener after I graduated with my before going into grad school. So I was working as a gardener, and all my coworkers love my butterfly earrings. So I was like, you know what? I'm gonna start this. I'm gonna prove that people do like my earrings. And I just started making them for fun because I would get off of work at like 2 p.m. every day, and I lived in my college town, and there wasn't a ton to do. So that's kind of how it started. And then I just started selling jewelry on campus at little pop ups. And then I graduated with my master's, and I didn't exactly know what I was doing with my life, but I knew that the business was going well. So I thought, I'm going to try to do this. And it's funny, it's been like a year now of doing it.
That's
Like full
so
time.
crazy how far life can take you in a year. Because I feel like probably before then you didn't think that you were gonna have a full blown business and do something that you love so much. Not that you probably thought you were gonna be in a job that you didn't like, but we're kind of put in these boxes where we need to have everything figured out at 17.
Mhm.
And I'm starting to realize that that isn't the case for most people. I know that isn't the case for me.
Oh my gosh, yeah. No, sorry, hold on. I lost my train of thought. No, last year at this time, even like 6 months ago, 4 months ago, I was very much like crying all the time. I was like, what am I doing? Like, what am I gonna do with my life? Am I gonna find a job? Am I gonna, like, oh, I live at home. Like, what am I doing? This is so silly. I'm just posting videos all the time. But it's like, I find a lot of joy in it, and people find a lot of joy in what I'm doing. And then I get to meet all these people at markets and on the internet, and like everyone just like it's just fun. So it's like I never ever would have imagined last year at this point I would be here doing this more successfully than I was a
Well, I
year
think
ago. Do you know what I mean?
part of it I think comes from when you have such like a positive energy or excitement about something, then it gets other people excited.
Yeah.
Because I feel like most jobs, if you kind of just people watch, a lot of people don't have that flame for what they're doing.
Mm-hmm.
Versus you can tell not only are you good at what you're doing, but you also have that excitement about it, which
Oh,
I think draws people into that community.
well, thank you. Yeah, it's all, I just want to like, yeah, make a community of people to just like encourage them to just share their art, whatever their art may be, you know? And like,
Mhm.
I just want, yeah, I don't know. I just want people to like be excited about what they're doing and their life. And I am excited with what I'm doing. So I'm happy to be doing it.
Speaking of your online presence, I started to notice that you kind of blew up a little bit recently. Not that you didn't have a following before, but what has that been like to see, your work pan off where now all of a sudden you're being seen by so many different people?
Yeah, good question. It's kind of crazy. It was all that beaded plant that I did, which that's kind of like, I just think everything's so connected and art and life go so hand in hand together because the beaded plant was something that people, like someone had done on TikTok, like, and that went viral. And that video that went viral, I had like 6 different people send it to me, like 6 of my friends from various parts of my life. Like I hadn't talked to them in a while, and they were like, you should do this. And I was like, you know what? Hell yeah, I should do this. And so I did it and I just like made a video about it. I did a goofy voiceover and then yeah, it like popped off, which was incredible to see because like, you put all this time into it. Of course you want people to see what you're doing.
And have positive feedback.
Yeah, positive feedback, like seeing other people do it, people purchasing like commissions from me. It truthfully, like it gave me the momentum again. Like I feel like with a business, like you kind of have to like always have momentum
Mm.
to like almost feel like to keep going, which I don't know, maybe that's kind of a bad way to think about it because when you don't have momentum, it's like kind of hard to keep going.
But
But
yeah, I mean, that's what the ebbs and flows of life.
yeah,
Things aren't always easy.
things aren't always easy. And if they were always easy, wouldn't be as fun, you know?
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely fun when you're in the highs. When you're in the lows, I think it's really hard, and sometimes you lose perspective of like, is this gonna be forever?
Mhm.
Like, when is gonna be the point where things start to switch to the next turn? But I think it's really cool because also not only did you take that concept, but you made it your own.
Yeah. And it kind of went hand in hand with like the no spend era in a way. I had that disco ball from a plant that I bought at a market. It was like my last market of 2024. And I got a string of pearls for myself to celebrate like a year, finishing off this year in the business. And then like it was the middle of winter in Iowa, so of course it was cold. Plants don't do well, and I like had to bring it like in and out of my car, like in between like people I was staying with when I was in Des Moines, and it died immediately. And so I just had this disco ball planter sitting there every day. I would see it and I'd be like, bummer, bummer the plant died. And so it's like it has a whole new life, and it's like
Mhm.
the reason why I've popped off on social media, and which has like given me so many different avenues of creativity, which is so cool. And yeah, pop like the video going off and like getting more of a following has kind of like reignited my flame for the business, and like I can see more of a way that this could be like a substantial way of living, which is really cool to see and very
Well, and I
exciting.
also think a cool part of it is at least, with beaded plants, they can't die.
Can't die.
So, she's gonna live forever.
Mm-hmm. She is. My mom actually. So I have two beaded plant commissions right now, and I cannot find the time to do it. I don't know. I've just been very busy with the business, which has been great. No complaints. But she told me, she was like, "Well, couldn't you like take pictures of this one and then give that one as one of the commissions, and then you'll remake it for yourself?" And I was like, "Can't do that. Can't possibly part with the one that started it all." Like,
Yeah, that's your baby.
this is mine. And plus, it's like, it's mine. But, and I want to make them new ones. But yeah, I am looking up my beaded plant. It was very fun.
I
And
mean,
it's
if you
been
ever end up giving it away, you'll have to sign it or something.
for sure. Yeah. Yeah. Or even like, I've thought about bringing it to my markets and just being like, you could have one of these. Like, it could be a commission piece. But
That's so smart. Yeah,
yeah.
you should definitely look into that. One thing I've been trying to focus on, or one of the reasons I started this podcast, was not only to kind of track my own journey with like self discovery, but also talk about other people's journeys and finding who they are. Where do you think you currently are on your like self journey?
Man. Okay. So that's a great question as well. And really cool that you're doing this podcast, and like that's a really wonderful reason to do it. And let's see. So where am I at in my journey? Gosh, when I was in college, so this is something I've discovered about myself since graduating, and just being on my own, or not on my own, but you know what I mean, like not in school. I went about my last 25 years of life just like actively thinking that everyone hated me until
Mm.
I proved that they could like me unknowingly. I had no idea that I was doing that. It was really until I started the business where I was like, I don't have to prove myself. I can just be myself, and that's enough. And so,
That's so proud.
yeah, it was like, but it wasn't even like I was trying to figure it out. It just kind of like, I mean, not like it just hit me, but it was like, just through a lot of self-reflection. I journal every morning, and I'm in therapy, and like, I just, like, I don't know. I just used to walk around, yeah, thinking that everyone hated me until I could prove that they would like me. And it makes me sad to think that I did that, because there was no reason to do that or put that pressure on myself. So I would say where I'm at in my personal journey is just kind of, I don't know, just being like a loving force and trying to love my life, even if it's not exactly where I want to be, and just being a good friend and being a positive person, and like really locking in on loving myself, I think, to say in not a super poetic way.
Well, no, but I think that that's so strong because in order to put love out, a lot of the times you need to put love back into yourself. And I also feel, for me, I mean, I don't always feel comfortable like, giving myself compliments or doing things for me. It's a lot easier to do things for other people. And
Mhm.
so I'm also at the point where I'm trying to like, okay, well, what are things that I like, or like, who am I? I don't know if you relate to this, but like in college, I feel like I put so much of my identity into organizations I was involved in and my degree that
Mhm.
now that I'm on my quote unquote pivoting era, I'm like, who am I really?
Yeah, there's a lot of power in that too. Like, I think we can always put our identity into something, into either like a relationship or into a job or into the business or into school, like into friendships. And like, I
Mhm.
don't necessarily think that's a bad thing, but it shouldn't be the only thing. So I think taking
Yeah.
a step back from your work, and just like, who is Sophia, is really
Yeah, it's a
powerful.
little terrifying though, because I'm like at the point where I feel sometimes, not all the time, but sometimes I feel like other people know me better than I know myself. And I'm like, that
Mm,
should not be the case because you're with yourself all of the time. But I think part of that is just because I've been so focused on the path and the steps I need to take in order to get on that path. Now that I'm not on that path anymore, it's kind of eye opening of like, who am I? Like, what do I want? What is my purpose?
Yeah.
And, it's cool, but it's also petrifying at the same time. In terms of era, so this is something I'm trying to ask like every guest that I have on the show. What era do you think you're in right now?
I had time to think about this, and I feel like I would think about it. What era am I in? I think like the easy answer is just to say like I'm in my business era, but I don't want to say
Mm,
that. Which like it's
okay.
true. I think. Hold on. I thought of one. Hold on. You'll have to
We
edit.
can always revisit it too if you can't
No, no,
think
no.
of it
I
right
thought
now.
of an answer last night when I was I was thinking about it. I'm in my like exploration era, I think,
Okay.
where I'm kind of like just into doing new things and I'm trying to be like really creatively curious. So okay, exploring era and like slash curiosity era, where like I'm trying to be curious like when I'm talking to people or when I'm talking to people at like the markets, like making sure I'm asking like good questions and really like getting to not people at the markets, but just like I don't know, I'm trying to be more curious about what's
Hmm.
out there in life, like do I stay in my hometown? I don't want to stay in my hometown. Do I move back to Des Moines? Do I like move out to Arizona? Like there's a whole world and I just want to be more curious about what's there?
That's funny you say that because so I grew up in Ohio. And since I was little, I've always told my parents I will be leaving Ohio eventually.
Uh-huh.
So when I was applying to jobs, I applied for jobs anywhere and everywhere, pretty much outside of Ohio.
Uh-huh.
Moved to Georgia, was in
Mhm.
the middle of nowhere in Georgia, was interesting.
Mhm.
Um, and now I'm here in Texas. And again, super far away from family and everything. And so at some moments, it's really hard because when you're in a new area and you don't know a lot of people, when you're going through those hardships, it's not always the easiest to be like, hello, friend that has only known me for a month. Do you want to hold my hand as I cry? It's not
Yeah.
and it's not the same when you're connecting with someone over a phone versus in person. But it was
Mhm.
really interesting to hear because a lot of my friends were like, I admire your strength to go out there by yourself and try something and be in a completely different state where no one I never thought about like that. Like I don't always when I think of myself, I don't think of like, oh, she's a strong person. But to hear people say that like that's something I could never do and you did it from
Mhm.
people that like I'm friends with that I admire and I think they do crazy cool things was very like eye opening in a way.
No, you are so strong to do that. Like, up and moving and going somewhere totally new 2 times is like, it's so inspiring and it's so cool. Like, I've even just been thinking about, yeah, moving to Arizona for a year, and it's like, even thinking about it is so scary. So, like, you're doing it and you're doing it well. And now, like, and you like take these risks of like doing your art trades, and like, here I am, a person you've never met in person. And like, it's like you're so brave and you're so strong and cool and independent. Like it's so cool.
I appreciate you saying that because, like I told you right now, I don't always necessarily feel that way. I'm kind of in the weeds of life of like trying to find myself out, and of course, like in that, like there's a lot of good that's coming, but sometimes it can be hard to see to that point. On some days when I am spending time just with myself, or knowing I don't have as many close friends that I can meet up with in person, but I'm trying, or as much as I can, I'm trying to look at the positives of that, of like it's giving me self growth. And
Mhm.
when I look back at this time, it will just be a memory of like, oh, I'm glad that I went through that to find who I am now. But
Yeah.
in the moment, right now, sometimes it just sucks.
I totally get it. It's like I don't know. I understand. And like you're 25, is that what you said?
Yeah, I turn 26 next month. So I'm a little terrified, but it's fine.
I get it. I get it. I'm also 25 and it's like this is the most confusing age where it's like you're not a child, you're not in your early 20s, you're not in your late 20s, you're like fully developed and you're like seeing the world as like a whole new lens and like, it's like what is purpose? What is life about? Where am I going? What am I doing? Kind of all the time.
Yeah,
you
and I
know?
think when you move to a different state or even a different area within a given state, it really shows you how different things are throughout the states.
Mm.
Because the viewpoints everywhere that I've lived have been completely different from one another. The people I've met and the experiences of growth that I've gotten to have. If you don't, sometimes taking the leap sucks, but if you don't take those leaps that you have been wanting to take, you miss out on opportunities you didn't know were going to be out there for you.
Yeah.
And you probably get that with your business because if you had not taken that leap of confidence in yourself, you wouldn't be where you are now. But taking that jump is so difficult sometimes because it's a lot easier to stay in what we're familiar with.
It is. And I always remind myself when I think of that, it's like, but if it's so much, like, and this isn't a huge, it's a pretty common thought. What's worse than, changing is staying the same. And, like, I loved who I was. Well, okay, that kind of contradicts what I said. Okay,
But parts.
yeah, like, yeah. I thought I loved who I was, and I think I loved who I was before I started this business. This business really helped me figure out myself and made me a lot more confident in what I'm doing and who I am and how I communicate with people. But it's so terrifying to think if I hadn't have started this business and started doing social media and putting myself out there, I would still be the same kind of shy, self-conscious girl that I was last year at this time.
Yeah, and how much you can evolve in a positive way by just trying things.
Yeah.
Like one thing I want to start trying to do, but I hate doing it, is like going out and doing things alone in public. Like I mean, not right now, but going out to dinner by myself or
Yeah.
going to a movie theater by myself. The idea of that gives me the ick, but I know that I should do it because it will make me be a little bit stronger in that aspect.
I started doing $5 movie Tuesday. I have a friend I go with sometimes, but when he's not available, I go by myself, and it's kind of the best. Like, it was scary at first. So me and it's my high school buddy Mason, we would go to $5 movie Tuesday last summer, and I saw the movie Twisters with him, and I loved Twisters. So I was like, well, shoot, I want to go back, but I don't want to drag him to go see it again. So I went and saw it, and it was so cool. I could get my own popcorn and eat it all by myself. I could sit wherever, well, I mean, I'd, pick my seat.
Yeah.
I picked it before, but I could pick wherever I wanted. I could go whatever time of day because I wasn't going with anybody else. It was all by myself. It was so fun. Like, it was so fun and freeing. And now I go to $5 movie Tuesday by myself if he's not available. And was scary at first, but there's a lot of like perks to doing it by yourself.
Do you feel kind of empowered by doing that?
Oh yeah. I mean, of course, sometimes I feel like a little lonely where it's like, well, this would be kind of fun to be with a friend, or like a significant other or something, but I'm doing this by myself and like I want to go see this movie and so I'm going to go do it. And it is empowering. I haven't nailed down dinner by myself yet, but
yeah, I know I went somewhere. I was supposed to meet someone for lunch or dinner, and the hostess was like, "Oh, only one," and I was like, "No, I'm with somebody." I'm like, I think part of that adds to my self consciousness about it because they were like, "Oh, that's so sad. Are you by yourself?" And I'm like, "No, I'm meeting somebody. Like, don't you worry."
Yeah, don't worry. I'm
as
not gonna be
part
by
of it.
myself. Yeah, I hate that. No, you should try it by yourself. Like, you should try going to dinner by yourself. And maybe I'll try that too sometime soon.
If we do it, then we can meet up and we can discuss how well it went. Because I
Yes.
just can't imagine, like, it just feels weird to me. Like, you're going to sit in silence and not have anyone to talk to. Like, I know when I see other people do it, I'm like, I love that person and I love that they're doing it. But the idea of me doing it is something completely different.
Sure. You know what you could do? You could like, I want to bring a book and go eat by myself. I feel like I want to like be unplugged. I don't want to be on my phone and be by myself. I want to be like reading. I don't know what book I would be reading, but I'd be reading a book. What would you get to eat? Like, where would you go eat by yourself?
Oh gosh. I mean, I've gone to like coffee shops alone because that's easy. You can just like put on headphones and like work on something on your computer. But I feel like maybe like a burger place or something. Maybe it'd be good to people watch there.
Yeah.
But I don't want to sound like creepy. I wouldn't be like peeping in, but like, you can look around and stuff.
Yeah. No, I
In
support that.
terms of, we talked a little bit about lows. How do you typically try and work through lows in your life?
Well, good question. How do I work through lows? Well, I've discovered about myself in this last year is I'm really reliant on sleep when it comes to my behavior and like if I'm like overly tired, I'm not going to be the nicest person. Or like not have great conversations with people. And so I think before I like hang out with people or I have a phone call with a friend, I really make sure that I am like not in a low place. Like,
Mm.
which also sounds bad, but I try to make sure I'm like showing up with my energy. So it's just like prioritizing where I'm at, like
Making time for
energy
yourself.
wise. Yeah, taking care of myself. How do I handle my lows? So yeah, last Saturday, no, 2 Saturdays ago. No, last Saturday. It doesn't really matter. But last Saturday, I like had to update my earring inventory because I had a market on Sunday, and I was like, wow, I don't want to do this. Like, I just want to sit on my couch. I don't want to do anything. I want to be lazy and watch a movie. And so I just kind of let myself do that for a little bit. And I ordered some dinner and I had it delivered to the house so I didn't have to leave. And
Mm,
I watched a really bad movie and I
I
just kind
love
of like
that.
I know, I just like let myself be tired because I was. And there was no point in like trying to make earrings if I was going to be in a bad mood about it and I didn't want to do it. I also like with the business, I'm always having to like record what I'm doing. And so I just decided like I'm just not going to record. Like I don't feel like looking at myself in the camera. Like I don't feel like doing an audio. I'm like slicked back. I'm like so like post nap. But yeah, I try to just like let myself feel my feelings. Long story short, and do what I need to do to take care of myself so that I can like keep working at my business.
I feel like that's so smart too because a lot of times I feel like people are told like, "Oh, don't be so emotional." Right?
Hmm.
Or like push it down. And so being able to be at a point where you can actually let yourself feel and not feel guilty that you're having feelings for stuff is really healthy. I mean, I think I just did an episode recently on like friendships and stuff, and I mentioned that I have some of the strongest relationships that I've ever had in my life at this point, which
Hmm.
is crazy. And it's been, a little turbulent in terms of my emotional state. And so I kind of sent out like apology texts to some of my friends, like, I'm so sorry that I've been so, much lately or, just so distraught. And pretty much all of them were like, you're fine. Like, I think you're
Okay.
making this bigger than it is, and we're not upset. Like, someone will tell you if they feel like you're being a lot. You're working through your feelings right now, and that's okay. And it kind of took me back where I'm like, wait, you're not mad at me that I'm like talking to you about this? It just felt very strange to have people who, not that I've only had relationships where people shut me down, but have friends who are like, no, we want you to express that to us. We want to know what's going on and that deeper level.
Yeah, it's like it's amazing. Friendships are so amazing. And that sounds like yeah, really wonderful friends that you have that like you can lean on and they're just like there for you. And that's like everyone's going through different seasons of life all the time. So like, maybe your friends have been in like a similar season that you have and now they get to be there for you and maybe in a year or so another friend, will be where you're at now and you'll get to help them through it because it's like
Yeah,
yeah,
I don't
we're
know if
always
I
growing.
shared this previously, but one of my friends, when I, talked to her about everything that was going on, she was like, if I would have found out a different way or not from you, I would have actually been mad at you for holding that from me
Mhm.
because you've been there and you've helped me through moments where I was down. And if you wouldn't let me be a friend to you the same way the same way I was to you, that's selfish. And I never really thought about it that way because I don't mind when other people need help, but I feel guilty if I need the help. Because I'm like,
Sure.
I don't want to put that on someone. So for someone to say like the opposite of like, if you didn't tell me, that's actually selfish is very different from where my mind was at and thinking with things.
Yeah, that is really interesting. Because, yeah, it's like, yeah, if one of your best friends was going through a horrible time and you had no idea, like, that always, I would agree. Yeah, that, like, makes me sad when I find out, like, one of my friends is really going through it and I don't know about it. And it's
Mm-hmm.
like, I want to be there for you. Like, I want to help you.
I just didn't think about it from that perspective.
No, I wouldn't have either. That, like, opens up a lot of doors,
Yeah,
like, a lot of thought
it
bubbles.
made my mind sink a little bit where I was like, what is going on right now?
Yeah.
In terms of mental health, I know that you said that when you're on your low moments, you try and take naps. Is there anything else you try and do to take care of yourself?
Yeah. No, I feel like I have a long history with mental health, especially like with my family and whatnot. Other things I try to do. Yeah, I try to like when I'm feeling my feelings and maybe I'm worked up or I'm overstimulated, distress tolerance. That's something that I've learned in therapy. And it's basically like you can either feel like every emotion like over the top. Think of like when you feel like road rage, like basically that's how you're living your life, like slamming doors or really down on yourself, really talking negatively, like you can't like stop the negativity. It's like up
Mm-hmm.
here, and then down here is like you're numb, you don't feel anything, you don't want to talk to anybody or do anything whatsoever. And so you want to find your middle ground. So I would say, and I feel like the above part of distress tolerance is almost like crashing out. And I would say I was crashing out a lot when I moved home after graduating. I like did not want to come home. And so I really had to figure out a way to like not crash out and to not be living my life so like on the edge of that distress tolerance. And to be honest with you, I'm not really sure what changed. I think I just like had to just say like this is where we're at in life right now. This is not a bad place. Like you're doing something that not a lot of people attempt. And I kind of have to like tell myself like the good things when I'm feeling the bad things.
Mm.
And in a way, like, okay, yeah, you don't like living at home. So be it. Do you have the money to live on your own right now? No. Like, and that's a bummer. But I will have the money someday. This is just a season.
Mm-hmm. One thing that I've been trying to do is I put up a whole bunch of just like words of affirmation all over my apartment
Mhm.
in like different groups. Is that something that you try and practice as well as like words of affirmation?
Oh yeah, I do. I have a bunch of sticky notes on my window next to me. It's like full of like ideas and like video ideas, or when I have like a positive thought, I'll like write it down. And one of my favorite ones, like especially when I'm always like watching like a movie or documentaries or TV shows like while I'm out here working. So I feel like I'm always writing down little nuggets of information. But one thing that Tom Hanks said, it was in the SNL documentary, it was a 4-part series. He said, "You don't get to 10 unless you have one." And he was talking about how many times he's hosted Saturday Night Live. And so it was like,
Mm.
yeah, it's like something so simple. Like, yeah, and it was in Tom Hanks' voice. So it was like obviously like emotional and like very well said. It's like, yeah, like, or similar, like the day you plant the seed is not when you're going to see the plant grow. Or, the best time to plant a tree was 10 years ago. The second best time is right now. Like, all those kind of
Mhm.
like in the same area. But yeah, it's like, okay, I'm starting this thing. I'm starting my life outside of school for the first time ever. I'm trying to run a business and have a job and be nannies, nanny these kids. Like, you're not gonna have all 10 things right now. Like, it's okay.
Mhm.
You gotta get to the one thing first, and then you can have two, and then three. That's another one. Well, this one is from Shameless. It
Love that
says,
show.
I know, I love that show. The best thing about mistakes is that we get to correct them.
Oh wow.
Uh-huh. So maybe they're not words of affirmation necessarily, but they're like reminders that
I
like,
like quotes that make you think.
yeah.
I
Like,
also feel like a lot of the times when you leave college, if you go to college, you have this picture of what your life is going to be like because they don't really talk about the after effects. And so when things don't necessarily align with that, sometimes it's difficult to feel like the work that you put in is worth it. But I've also heard the saying where people are like, nothing easy is worth doing because then
mhm.
everyone would do it, right? So if it's something that's worth doing for you, it's not going to be a cakewalk. At least not for most people.
No.
Some people have good luck of the draw, or they are born into a family that already has a lot of extra things in life to give them that extra boost. But the average person has to work for what they want.
Mhm.
It's just when you look back, you're like, oh, wow, I did that. But in the moment, you're like, oh my gosh, I have to do all of this to get to where I want. And it can be really easy to just give up. And I
Mhm.
think that some people just do that because they're like, I don't want to work for 3 years to get to this point. Maybe I just completely do something different because it's too hard.
Yeah, no, definitely. And it's sad when that happens because it's like, yeah, exactly. Nothing easy is worth doing. I'm gonna keep that in mind. But no, we have to like stick to things, You've gotta like I've been telling my friends and myself like it's cosmically impossible for what's meant for you to miss you. And so,
Ooh.
yeah.
I'm going to have to write that one down.
Yeah, that's what I've been telling myself in 2025. Like, if it's meant for you, like it's not going to miss you because it's your path and it's what is meant for you. Um, and so even if you quit, it's going to find its way back to you.
Yeah, if it's meant to be.
It's meant to be.
Yeah, and I've been thinking about that a lot for things. Like, there's a lot of things that I thought were meant to be for me that now I'm like, I don't, I think I was forcing something because I wanted it, and I don't think it's exactly what I needed.
Mm-hmm.
But making that choice to move on and go on a different path, it's like, I don't know where life is going to take me right now. And
Yeah.
that, you know, half of me is like, that's okay. The other half is like, we need to panic. Like,
Right. We need to
things
freak
are not
out.
going well. This is not on our plan of life.
Yeah.
But one other question that I had was, I know for me, when I'm making things, if I'm working on an art project, I always have an easier time actually getting myself to continue and finish it if I'm making it for other people. Do you have that same thing, or are you able to keep your own drive if it's just for you?
Oh, good question. Can I back up to something that you said first before the question
Yeah.
though? Okay. I ran in, so this is about yeah, like okay, no, I'm not where I'm at in life. Like what do I do? Every door, I could open any door and go down any path. And I feel very similarly where it's like, yeah, I could go anywhere. I could do anything. I'm not tied down to anyone or any place. That's so horrifying. There's too many options of what I could do. And don't get me wrong,
Overwhelming.
still overwhelmed, still super scared, like I have no idea where I'm moving next. But I ran into an old professor of mine. He like taught me. I was also his TA for a semester. So like we were buddies, but have not kept up. And so I was telling him like I like this business could take me anywhere. I could go anywhere. I have no idea. I'm so scared. And he said with such like conviction, he was like, "That is so exciting. That's so exciting. Don't be scared. Like be excited that you have no idea what you're doing next." And I was like, God damn it, Brandon. Like, that was some, like, so simple advice. Again, things that we've heard before, but it was like the way he said it of being like, be excited about that. Like, don't be scared.
Mm-hmm.
Like, be open to any path. It's like, oh my God, you have no idea where life is going to take you. It's so overwhelming, but it's so cool.
Mm-hmm. If you stay on paths that aren't meant for you, then you're not going to be happy.
Yeah, I actually, that kind of ties me into the question. There's a quote. It's the longer you stay on a train and where you like you miss your stop, the longer it's going to take you to get back to like where you were supposed to get off the train at. I know.
Whoa.
I know. I love it, but I hate it because I think I have in the past stayed on trains too long and it's like taken me longer to get back. And I want to do a painting so badly about the train. And I have the reference photo. I took a picture of a train last weekend, but I've been thinking about this painting for like months. And I want to do it like in this painting style as like same as the portrait. I have this horrible thing where I will buy a canvas. I have this brilliant idea and then I don't make time to do it. To answer, basically answering your question of like, do I make time to make art that's for myself and not for other people? Not as much. Oh, the sun's really hitting me now. Not as much as I would like to. I gotta be closer to this.
Well, I feel like part of it can also be if you're like a true artist, sometimes I think that there's like a fear component that can play into things of what if my vision can't be the reality of what I make it?
Hmm.
Do you think that that kind of plays a role? I mean, if you've been thinking about this for a while, now it's kind of up in your mind of exactly how you want it to look.
For sure, that's 100% it. I feel like the fear of yeah, not letting it like be what's in my mind, or if it doesn't become what's in my mind, yeah, it's really scary. And I think for sure with painting, I am like fearful of it failing, which
Mm.
is so silly because it's a painting and it's art and it can't be wrong. And it can always, you can, the thing about paint is that it can always be painted over, you know, like
Mhm.
it can always do something new. But I've always kind of had that fear. And I talked about it with the self portrait, and it's like there's literally no reason for that, but it's a very real thing.
Yeah, I feel that too, specifically with painting, because I'm like, I don't feel like I know what I'm doing. And even if I did, I'm still like, but what if I make one wrong stroke kind of thing where you just stare at the page or the canvas and you're like, what am I doing? And I painted some things and they've turned out, some of them okay, some of them really bad, where I'm like, I want to hide this where no one can ever see
I
it.
never want anyone to see this. Oh my gosh, yeah, for sure. For
But
sure.
it's a point
There's
of expression. I mean, it gets part of you out, and it's like a free flowing way to express yourself.
Mhm.
So if you can get to those points, I feel like it's awesome.
Yeah, no, definitely. It's like, and it's so fun. My goal for 2025, which it has been, I have failed at this part of my goal. It was to do one painting a month.
Well, can you do maybe an average so you can
Yeah.
do 1 month?
Yeah. So I'm a few months behind. I did one in January. I haven't done one since. And that wasn't even really a painting. That was putting paint on a canvas.
Anything.
Same thing. Yeah, yeah. But I think so I've got like a crazy week this week, a crazy week next week, and then there's like a week in between. I remember my sister's getting married at the end of the month. So I want like the week before her wedding to be like a little bit less of my business and more like art and
Mhm.
self-expression and just like doing some me time before like a big family weekend. So I can like show up my best socially and have high energy rather than being
Mhm.
like, not that the business drains me, but just like a little bit more energy, you know?
Yeah, I mean, it takes a lot to put out product,
Hmm.
especially when you're making it by hand.
For sure. Yeah, yeah. So I'm hoping to start the train painting soon because my last painting I did in August. I just like worked on it for like 2 weeks and I would just come out here every day. I was not employed by anybody or anything at that point except for myself and it was barely a business. So I just like painted for 2 weeks and it was such a luxury and it was so fun. And I would like to experience that again to some extent.
Hmm. Is there any closing thoughts that you
Oh
have?
my gosh. This was so fun for starters. I love this podcast. I love listening to it. So it was really fun to be on it. I think I just want to like re-quote. I'm gonna step out of the sun a little bit here. I just want to restate some of the things that I said of that it is cosmically impossible to miss what is meant for you. So if it's meant for you, it is going to find you. And just like in your low moments, remember that your path in life will form because it is impossible for it to miss you.
Mm. And I'd love to, as things progress, if you ever want to come back on, you're more than welcome to come
Yeah.
on. I've already had my one friend Ellie on twice.
Yeah.
Wherever journey takes you, I'd love to like see an update of where you are with things, especially after you finish this train painting. And
Fun.
now I'm gonna try and do my outro, which again is not memorized or rehearsed, so hopefully it does not sound too bad. So here we go. Thank you for joining me on this journey of rediscovery. If today's conversation resonated with you, I'd love for you to, this feels so awkward for me to say, but subscribe, leave a comment or review, or share this episode with someone who might need it. Remember, healing isn't linear and growth takes courage, but you're never alone in it. Let's keep this conversation going. Follow the Rediscovery Journal on Instagram at the Rediscovery Journal. And if you have thoughts, questions, or stories you'd like me to share, which could completely be anonymous, email me at rediscoveryjournal@gmail.com. Until next time, keep exploring, keep growing, and most of all, keep showing up for yourself. And that's all for this week. Thank you.